So the president here in El Salvador hosted a get-together of, I think it was 44 central bankers from around the world, mostly the global south. This took place just a couple of weeks ago. And they all came to El Salvador. They were down in El Zonte. They all got a Bitcoin wallet. They were all using their Bitcoin wallet, hyper-Bitcoinization. And then they went back to their respective countries, having been orange-pilled. So the President Bukele, is orange-pilling central bankers by the score, dozens of them coming to the country and getting orange pilled. And then they go back to their respective countries and they carry the message. Obviously, we've got the Central African Republic, or CAR, has made Bitcoin legal tender. So that's happening in Africa. And he's orange pilled, and the way he talks about Bitcoin is very, very strong. He's got all the very strong talking points there. So you see it spreading there.
Welcome to Moontown. In today's video, the host of the Orange Pill podcast and popular Bitcoin maximalist Max Keiser discusses Bitcoin details about the ongoing bear market, as well as Bitcoin institutional and nationwide adoption. Max Keiser updates about the performance of El Salvador after the adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender. He explains why the current volatility and downwards priced action in Bitcoin has not affected El Salvador's financial system. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable post notifications if you want to be notified whenever new content is uploaded.
But the playbook is key. Samson Mao, who left Blockstream recently to join a company here in El Salvador that he's starting called Jan3. That's his whole business model, was Bitcoin as a service, as a sovereign solution. And now he's going to other countries in this region, specifically Guatemala, Honduras, and he is talking to higher ups and getting them to get on board with making Bitcoin legal tender. So that playbook, as you call it, is being spread to other countries, particularly in this region. And the folks are really receptive because they see the effect of the positive impact it's had here. Yeah, sure. So as you know, the country made Bitcoin legal tender a year ago, and they are experiencing all the benefits and changes that come with that. The economy is doing very well. They printed a 10% plus GDP gain. They're looking to do that or more this year. Tourism is up by a couple of $100 million. They just completed a surfing competition, international surfing competition that attracted people from all over the world. It brought in millions of dollars. They've got forward and direct investment coming in the billions of dollars. So that's all happening. That's very positive. Now, additionally, the government has decided to crack down on gangsters. So they have essentially arrested and incarcerated thousands of gangsters. And this also has a very beneficial impact on the economy. It's estimated that the gangs were extracting about $6 billion a year. And this is an economy in aggregate. I think it's like a $45 or $50 billion economy. So that's a lot. That's a big difference to this economy. It's like giving everybody a 25 to 30% tax break because they're not paying the extortion. For example, you've got 5,000 pupusa sellers. Those are the local delicacy that are sold on the street. There's 5,000 of these around the country. They're primarily women. And so they would pay up to half of their revenue to these extortionists, to these gangs. So now the gangs are being wiped out. So that has a huge knock-on effect. The confidence people have in the economy, you see entrepreneurialism is getting very strong. We have a venture capital fund here called El Zonte Capital, which is investing in local startups. And we've got an incubator starting with Jimmy Song, who's training up some local coders. So there's a lot of talent here. We want to germinate and feed that local coding talent. So that's going on. And it's all happening. They're having a tremendously positive impact. Well, this is, Pomp. This is the always the big question, because Bitcoin is not something that you can pick up over the weekend. You really have to think about it for a while and think deeply about it. For me, what I always talk about first, whenever I talk to people, is the quality of Bitcoin where it's unconfiscatable. So this is really unique in history. We've never had, as a species, the opportunity to have wealth that's absolutely unconfiscatable. And that resonates. That really, people like that idea. And the folks here who were unbanked, right? 70% of the country before Bitcoin was unbanked. Now 70% of the country is relatively banked, as they all have now the Chivo wallet and they have access to Bitcoin. So that was a flip, an incredible change. And people like that idea. People come up to me all the time in the street and they show me their phone and they go, I have $20. I'm like, wow, that's fucking awesome, dude. And they know that nobody can take that. This is theirs. It's unconfiscatable, and they can't be inflated away. It can't be taken from the government. It can't be stolen. It can't be extorted. And this is significant. The other thing is that it's uncensorable. So this is particularly key for remittances, right? So money going back and forth from El Salvador to the U.S. This money can go and nobody can stop it. Nobody can stop that transaction. It's uncensorable. Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. I think this is really interesting because Michael Saylor's at an interesting point in his Bitcoin experience, right? He's now going through what anyone who's been in this space for, like I've been in it for 11 years, right? Started buying it at $1. I've been through 3 halvings. I've been through 4, maybe 5, 80% corrections. And so Michael is having his first, big cream pie in the face of volatility everyone experiences with Bitcoin at some point. I think his basis at MicroStrategy is 30,700, and of course they're down, on paper from that. But so this list of things he came up with to try to address what he thinks is could be improved upon. Now the wash sale trading rule, I would give that, I'm fairly ambivalent about that. It's like, yeah, that would be kind of nice, but he's trying to avoid this hyper trading that's going on, people trading without any cost whatsoever into kind of the fastest moving, I'll say shitcoin, I don't know, altcoin. And there's a tremendous amount of social media where you see hyping of a meme coin. And so there's no penalty for that mass of meme coiners out there to just jump into a new one. There's no tax penalty, et cetera. So bringing in a wash sale rule would theoretically put a buffer between that kind of murmurations, as I call it. So, we've been in this for a while, and these points are not new. Michael is just discovering them because this is the learning curve people have. But everything that's not Bitcoin, as I've said on your show before, would come under the heading of either relatively or absolutely centralized versus Bitcoin, which is uniquely decentralized. Additionally, a case can be made applying the Howey test that everything that's not Bitcoin would be an unregistered security, right? So, and it also brings about the question about Senator Lamas in her bill that she's trying to get through Congress, talking about applying some regulations to quote unquote crypto. And she does things like she equates Ethereum and Bitcoin. She calls them both commodities, which I think is false. You can make a case that Bitcoin is a commodity like gold, but clearly Ethereum is an unregistered security without any doubt whatsoever. So Gary Gensler over at the SEC had kind of pushed back against all this and said, hey, lady, stay in your lane. You don't know what you're talking about, which I think is the correct response. But when the cross-collateralization issue that he's getting at is really the crisis du jour, I would say, because of what we saw with Terra, Luna, and all these other DeFi coins, that they're manufacturing that yield, Pomp, from kind of cross-collateralizing and putting money to work into other DeFi coins, and these other DeFi coins are generating returns by creating coins out of thin air. So, by definition, that's a Ponzi scheme.